a shelf for setting things on. It's not a bar for hanging on. Okay? And our hands really shouldn't be up there touching it. But I'm going to talk to you about hallway expectations. This poster is hanging in the hallway all around the school. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Excellent. And we're pointing to the one over there. Yep, one on each side. So this poster talks about what you need to do to be respectful, be responsible, and be safe in the hallway at Hoover School. And most of the stuff you guys are really good at doing, especially when there's a teacher around. But I want you to also remember that you are expected to do all of these things even when there isn't an adult. Okay? So when you're in the hallway, you want to be respectful, which means eyes only on the displays. So when we have artwork on the bulletin board, we're not touching it or looking at it. We're using our eyes and we're just looking at it. Okay? When you're walking in the hall, you want to make sure, or actually waiting in line to get a drink from the bubbler, or waiting in line to go into gym or music, you want to make sure that you're staying in your spot in line. And a lot of that means that you're not skipping or pushing kids out of line or trying to get into a different spot in the line. Be responsible. And to be responsible at Hoover means to keep your hands, feet, and mouths quiet. And you want to make sure that you keep the benches and hooks neat. And basically that means you hang up your coat, you hang up your backpack, and then you also want to make sure when you're done taking your stuff out of your backpack that you zip that backpack up while it's hanging in the hall. It keeps things from falling out, and then hopefully nobody will be reaching in and trying to take something that doesn't belong to them. And one more, be safe. So when you're in the halls, you need to make sure that you're walking. And again, when you're with a teacher, this is not a problem. But there's times when, as 4th and 5th graders, you might need to go someplace in a small group without a teacher taking you. Am I right? Okay, maybe you got to go to the INC, or maybe you need to go, I don't know. But you're not always going to have a teacher with you. We expect that you can do what you need to do without a teacher being there to help you. You're independent, very independent. So you need to make sure you're always walking in the halls. And you also, when you're in the hall, you want to make sure that you're staying to one side of the hall, and that you're not wandering down the middle, or if there's a group of you going someplace together, you're staying to one side of the hall and not taking up the whole hallway as you get where you're going. Okay? So we're going to practice a couple of things. We're not going to practice, but I'm going to call on some of you to show us some different things. Okay? Casey, you get back to the classroom after lunch, and man, you forgot your lunch bag down in the lunchroom. So of course you ask your teacher if you could go back and get it. But Casey, can you show us what it's going to look like when you're walking in the hall to go back to get your lunch? And why don't we walk up that way, since Miss Pumpful is videotaping? Go ahead, just kind of walk over that way, right about to where room 115 is. Is she staying to one side of the hall? I think that part she forgot. But she is walking. She's got her hands by her side. She's quiet, right? Is she being safe? Absolutely. Okay, here's the deal. Brandon was outside playing at recess, gets back to the room, he forgot his football inside. So he wants to go back out and get it. But he can't go by himself because the doors are locked, right? Somebody's got to let him back in. So his teacher says, Brandon, why don't you pick somebody to walk with you to go out and get that football? Brandon, can you come back? Okay, so come on. I need you two. So these two are going to have to walk. Again, we're pretending. We're not going out to the playground. But they need to walk, and they need to walk down the hall together. Two people. Well, we're not talking. We're keeping our hands by our side. All of those things we just talked about, okay? I'm going to have you walk that way, though, again, because Miss Wonko's video recording. Now, think about, are you, good, yeah, you slid over closer to Brandon. So go ahead and just walk down, kind of where that next doorway is. Good job. Turn around and come back. Are they talking? Goofing around? They're quiet, right? That's exactly how it should look. Super job, boys. Even when there isn't a teacher, they're supervising. They should always be following these hallway expectations. Okay? I have one more scenario for you. Mr. Huss needs some help getting some things to your classroom. So he calls your teacher and says, could you send down 4 students to help me